As we've established, you're an expert in addiction, and your argument is that we get addicted to food just the way you can get addicted to cocaine or any other substance.
Yes, absolutely. It's the same neural pathway.
The same neural pathway. So when I eat a cookie, the same thing's happening in my brain as when I use a drug of abuse?
When you eat a cookie, dopamine gets released in your brain in the same way as when you smoke crack cocaine or snort cocaine or smoke a cigarette or drink alcohol.
I mean, I've seen a video where you see a rat between two piles of white substances. One is sugar, one is cocaine. The rat actually goes to the sugar.
There are some studies showing that rats will prefer sugar over cocaine, yes.
And the thing is, unlike drugs, we have to eat.
And the system was set up so we would get those calorically dense foods. So we would get the calories that we need to survive. But we've got an abundance of calories in the world now, so that system is still at play and saying, I'm going to do what I know how to do, which is eat when I taste sugar.
You've got a really cool way of describing how we get into mindless eating. You call it the habit loop. Can you walk me through that?
Sure, the habit loop's pretty simple. There's a trigger, there's a behavior, and there's a reward. So let's say that we are stressed out. So that's the trigger. The behavior is we eat some cookies and we feel a little bit better. That's the reward. So see cookies, eat cookies, feel good, and repeat. So that loop gets set up to the point where it becomes habitual, mindless, where we might not even be stressed out, but we just see some cookies or we smell some cookies and our brain says, oh, I've got a great idea. Why don't you eat some cookies? So that's the habit loop. And it's the same one that works for smoking, for example. How mindfulness works with this is that it can help us start to see that habitual behavior start to come online where we start reaching for the cookie. And we can see, oh, I've got this urge to eat this or this craving to eat this cookie. And we can stop there and step back and start to notice what that craving actually feels like. And instead of reaching and mindlessly eating the cookie, we can explore what the craving actually feels like in our body, see what actually drove the craving, and then if we don't have that behavior, as in eating the cookie, we break the loop. We start to dismantle that loop.
What's so cool to me about this is you're not selling some, specific plan that involves eating only steak and no white food, or eating only X and Y on Tuesdays and jelly beans on Thursdays. You're going right to the root of our behavior.
And the beauty of this is it's simple. When you learn to pay attention, you can start to really change all sorts of relationships to food, ones that we haven't even noticed that we had because they've become so habitual.
So in terms of applying mindfulness here, for the guided meditations you're doing, you're really focusing on body scans. Why is that?
There are a couple of reasons we do that. One is that often we're disembodied, and when we're stressed out, we're often disembodied because it doesn't feel good to be stressed out, so we try to get ourselves away from that uncomfortable feeling as quickly as possible. That's often why we eat, because we can use it as a way to distract ourselves. So the body scan helps us really start to kind of recalibrate what it actually feels like to be in our body if we're not used to being there. Another way that it's useful is that it can also help us notice what cravings feel like or what stress feels like when we have this urge to eat. So we can start to differentiate whether we're stressed or actually hungry.
So why is it so hard to pay attention? The instructions for meditation are simple enough, but I've certainly sat on silent meditation retreats in the middle of winter, sweating through t-shirts, really trying to force myself to concentrate. Now it turns out that we're fighting one of the most evolutionarily conserved learning processes known in science. It's called positive and negative reinforcement, and basically goes like this. With food, we see food, we eat food, and we feel good because we eat it. You can think of this as a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. This can apply to all of our habits, including meditation. For example, our brains might say, this meditation's kind of boring. Why don't you start daydreaming about Hawaii? And so we start daydreaming about Hawaii. Now that's the same habit loop that we can fall into. The trigger, which is we're bored, triggers a behavior, which is daydreaming, which triggers a reward, which is, it feels better to be dreaming about Hawaii than paying attention to my breath or my body right now. So what if instead of fighting our brains, we tapped into this natural reward-based learning process? And what if we just dropped the bit about forcing ourselves to pay attention and instead focused on being curious? And that's what mindfulness is all about. Just being really curious, turning toward our experience rather than trying to push it away. And this is supported by curiosity, which itself is naturally rewarding. So mindfulness is about tapping into this natural reward-based learning process instead of looking for things external to ourselves to make us happy. If we just get really curious about what's happening in our experience right now, this in itself can be naturally rewarding because curiosity feels good. Let's begin the meditation now. Sit down in a comfortable, quiet spot. Allow your eyes to close gently. And simply take a few deep breaths, allowing your body to relax. Just bring your awareness to the physical sensations of your breath breathing, whether it's your nose or your belly or your chest. Just take a few moments to notice. When you're ready, simply bring your full awareness to the physical sensations of the toes in your left foot. Just simply notice what they feel like right now. Is it pressure, warmth, tingling, or no sensation in particular? Just be aware of them. Now simply bring your awareness to the top of your left foot. What does it feel like right now? Just noticing tightness, warmth, pressure, or whatever physical sensations are present. Now bringing your awareness to the top of your foot. Now to your heel. And to your ankle. If you notice that your mind wanders, simply notice where it's gone off to. If it's thinking, just note thinking. If there's a sound, just note hearing. And gently return your attention to your body. Now bring your awareness into the lower part of your leg, to your shin, to your calf. What does it feel like right now? Now bringing your awareness into your knee. What does your knee feel like right now? Just resting in an awareness of whatever physical sensations are arising in this moment. And if at any time you notice your mind wandering, just note that as thinking. And then gently guide your awareness back to where you left off. Scanning up into the thigh. What's the mind aware of right now? And now bringing your awareness to the toes of your right foot. What do they feel like right now? Again, just noticing whatever's physically present. It can help to keep the notes to short, single words like pressure, pulsing, warmth. Now bring your awareness to the bottom of your right foot. Scanning into the heel, to the ankle. Scanning into the lower leg. Up into the knee. Now scanning up into the right thigh. And into the hips. What do the hips feel like right now? Is there pressure? Is there warmth? Is there tightness? Is there tingling? Now scanning up into the belly, bringing this kind, gentle, curious awareness, discovering whatever sensations are there right now. Is there movement? Is there pressure? Scanning up into the chest. Noticing if there's a tendency to think, oh, those are my lungs, or that's my heart beating. And dropping these concepts, instead resting in the awareness of the raw physical sensations. Movement, pulsing, pressure. Scanning all the way up to the top of the chest. And now inviting the awareness to notice the physical sensations at the tips of the fingers of the left hand. And now scanning down the fingers into the hand. Scanning into the wrist. And again, every time the mind wanders, notice if there's a tendency to judge ourselves for the mind wandering. If you find that you're judging yourself, just note that as thinking or judging, and simply return your awareness back to the body. Scanning up into the elbow, scanning into the upper arm, and now inviting your awareness to the tips of your right fingers. What do they feel like right now? Tightness, tingling, warmth, moisture. Scanning down the fingers into the hand, into the wrist, scanning up the arm toward the elbow. Scanning up into the upper arm. Now bringing awareness to the shoulders. What do the shoulders feel like right now? Just being really curious. Is there warmth? Is there tightness? Is there pressure? Maintaining this attitude of curiosity. Really diving in. Oh, what do these sensations feel like? If there's something unpleasant arising in your experience, see if you can really bring a natural curiosity to this. For example, if there's an itch in your body, notice what the natural tendency is. Typically, we'll scratch the itch or we'll try to distract ourselves from it, moving our attention somewhere else. What if instead you just dive in, full of curiosity. What happens then? And scanning up into the neck and the throat. Scanning into the jaw and the cheeks. Noticing the teeth, the tongue. Paying attention to your lips. What do your lips feel like? What are the raw sensations in your nose right now as you scan up toward the eyes? Scanning into the eyes and the muscles around the eyes. Bringing the awareness up into the eyebrows, into the forehead, and expanding that awareness to include the ears. And the scalp as a whole. Just being curious, what does my head feel like? And now that you've scanned your entire body, just resting in a curious awareness of your body as a whole. Whatever sensations arise that are most predominant, just resting in awareness of those. Now very slowly and gently, while still maintaining an awareness of your body, gently open your eyes and allow your awareness to expand to include the rest of the room. The sights, the sounds, and anything that's around you. So today we talked about bringing a curious awareness into the body scan and really incorporating that into our momentary experience. And just like I mentioned at the beginning, this is much easier than trying to force ourselves to pay attention. We can understand on an intellectual level what we need to do. For example, pay attention or concentrate. And for this, we use our prefrontal cortex, the youngest part of our brain from an evolutionary perspective. Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline when we get stressed out or are emotional. And when it goes offline, we drop into our old habits, which may be distracting ourselves or emotionally eating or doing other things that might not be helpful for us. When we bring mindfulness in, we can start to see the short-term rewards that we get from distracting ourselves or doing other unhealthy habits and see that they're not actually as rewarding as we thought. So see if you can really dive into your life today, just being really curious as you go throughout your day, noticing the pushes and the pulls, the urges, and the old habits. And notice what happens when you're just really curious about what your body feels like as you get pushed and pulled. We'll see you tomorrow.